Scagnett.
MLL, welcome to the soul of Detroit.
Great to meet you, Ward. So, how the hell are my two favorite assholes?
Well, we got them two rat fucks back up in there. I guess you want to see them.
Why not?
Go on. I seen you on TV.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I even went read your goddamn book. I'm impressed.
Oh.
Surprised Hollywood ain't found you yet.
Oh.
Your story make a lot better movie than that Serpico shit. I'll tell you something, Scagnetti. In all of my days in the penal business, that ain't no small amount of days, right, boys?
Oh,
Nope.
no. Marc Fellhauer and Sean Windsor.
Without doubt, the most twisted, depraved pair of shit fucks it has ever been my displeasure to lay my goddamn eyes on. I'm telling you, these two motherfuckers are a walking reminder of just how fucked up this system really is.
Don't get me started, okay, Ward? Don't get me started.
You asked it around, you're touching around my shoe. It's gone.
What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
You know, it occurs to me that we might have wanted to put an explicit language warning at the top of the show, but that's what happens when you honor one of our own. Tom Sizemore, as predicted by Sean Windsor, is not with us. From our last episode to our current episode, he passed away after suffering an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm, right?
Way to kill him, Sean. Good job.
Yeah.
I predicted it. Yeah.
Who's next?
I was just reading what others were predicted.
They come in threes, right?
Predicting
So who's the next two?
Who know a lot more than I do. That's nice of you not to take a victory lap over his death. No, I wouldn't do that. I'll leave that to the Michigan fans.
Yeah, Sean's gracious.
What?
Michigan fans hate Tom Sizemore because he went to Wayne State.
No, they take victory laps over people's deaths. No, that I said that before. I thought you would say that.
Oh no, I wasn't aware of Michigan fans being anything other than gracious, and maybe a little.
It's
soft
because
in tunnels.
I will mention it later, but you had a very controversial column for some people.
Oh, Sean went, and Sean is a subject of one of our items of feedback this week. So a lot of Sean Windsor here. We weren't expecting him. We got our calendars mixed up and thought we were going to get away with it, and then he walks right in on time. And it's like Sean's kind of conspiring.
You thought I was going to call in from a parking lot somewhere?
Yeah, we weren't sure. Or detention center, something like that. 888
It's nice
Guantanamo,
to see your
something like that.
sunshiny face.
So Sean's here, Marc Fellhauer's here as well, and we're joined by another Sean Mann, the CEO of Detroit City Football Club, to talk about the upcoming season. And when I say the upcoming season, we're recording on Tuesday. They kick off on Friday, and they'll be back in our fair borough within about 2 weeks. So Sean's going to tell us what's been going on with the football club, what we can look forward to this week, and how you can get tickets to not only the home opener, but they have a shop in Capitol Park if you want to check out some of their great swag. And then there's a lot of cool stuff going on at the Detroit City Fieldhouse, from volleyball, which I've been playing, to indoor soccer, to you name it. So we're going to catch up with Sean, as we do every year, as Le Rouge try and get ready to kick off another successful season. The show is always brought to you by David Hall and Luke Nowacki of Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. And a sponsor is back. We're grateful to the Caju Cafe for supporting the show again. If you want to come out and catch me at the Caju Cafe, we're planning a special St. Patrick's Day event. Now, I think I'll be there from 3 to 5, and we'll have some special guests, and we'll do some of the stuff that you're used to seeing on the show live and in person right in front of you. But they open at 11 a.m. on St. Patrick's Day. That's a special early opening for the great event. They're going to have bangers and mash, Guinness Irish stew, corned beef and cabbage, Guinness on tap, of course, and live music throughout the day and the night. So we'll tell you a little bit more about how you can find out about what's going on at the Caju Cafe every day and on St. Patrick's Day after we catch up with Sean Mann. Sean, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me back on.
So is this season 10 or 11 for the football team?
We started in 2012. I think this is our 12th campaign.
12th season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
How surprised are you by that?
I mean, there were early years. There were a surprise we were back, but now I think we've got so much momentum and pressure on us. It'd be hard.
It's crazy to look back
everyone
on that.
down
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you keep going up. I mean, how much higher can you go now?
Well, I mean, so last year we made the transition to USL, so that's the level below Major League Soccer, so we're the second level. So intuitively, yeah, I mean, I guess MLS is only place to go higher in American soccer. Not that we have.
And
any
I
plans
thought
on that front.
I thought I saw that the buy-in for a team now is $500 million. So you guys will be there next year, right?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had that conversation with Garber, but that's my understanding that that's what they're asking for these days. Yeah.
Damn, unbelievable.
And of course, you can't. We've talked about this ad nauseum. You can't earn your way to the top championship.
No, it is funny.
Every other league in every other country.
You know, I just got an email notification that The Athletic just hired a beat writer to cover Wrexham, a 5th division team in Wales.
But it's owned by Hollywood, right?
Yeah, exactly. The most exciting story in American soccer is a 5th division team in Wales.
So true.
So you would think the powers that be in American soccer would pick up on, tapping into that excitement and drama.
It's either Wrexham or a fake soccer team, like
right, exactly.
Ted
Yeah.
Lasso. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Richmond?
But no, we do not have that set up here in the U.S. So short of writing big checks, you are where you are. Yep.
Well, it's an amazing story, and even though you're not a movie star or the owner of a cell phone company and you don't have a big TV star behind you, you do have a
Movie star's
benefactor.
hair. Yeah, he
Well,
does.
he's got a little Hollywood in him.
Yeah, he does.
Sort of a young Brad Pitt, maybe, or no?
Yeah, no, I
was thinking like a sexier Michael Dukakis.
I appreciate that. I regularly.
Oh wow,
Sexier.
I either
is that possible?
at the gas station I either get Jay
He's one
Leno.
eyebrow short of Michael Dukakis.
At the gas stations I either
One
get,
eyebrow too many. I
Let
don't
him
know.
talk.
I get Jay Leno or Rachel Maddow. That's usually what I get when I'm at the gas station.
Rachel Maddow.
I know that one's. I've gotten that a few times, and I'm like, all right, fine. Just suck it up and move on.
Well, you don't seem that aggressive to be Rachel Maddow. You're more retiring. Then.
Yeah.
Damn. And you work more than one day a week now.
Yep.
So probably 7 days a week, I'm guessing.
It feels like, actually. There's not a day where we're not, working DCFC.
So what's coming up for the team? I know the season used to start kind of late spring, summer, but now you're going to be playing in the snow almost.
Yeah, I mean, guys, the men's team, the guys reported February 1st. Our first game is Saturday in San Diego. We fly out Friday. And so, the games go until regular season goes till mid-October and playoffs go up until Thanksgiving. So it's pretty much a year-round endeavor at this point. So, it's good to get away from kind of the BS and doldrums of the offseason and get back to kicking a ball this weekend. We're very excited. I think last year it was kind of an abrupt move up to the second division. So I think we proved, without a doubt that we belong at that level. Now it's a matter of competing and getting back to winning trophies again. So, that's the focus this year.
Well, you guys used to run the table. I mean, there was always hardware, silverware coming every year. And last year, you had some good spells, and then you guys took a couple on the chin, but not too bad for the first. Yeah. Not exactly the Las Vegas Golden Knights, not exactly the Seattle Kraken, somewhere in between. And what's different this year? I mean, what do you think is going to give you a chance to become kind of the bullies in the league?
I think Trevor James, our head coach GM, he brought back the core of the team from last year. So we were the strongest defensive team in the league. So goalkeeper, the whole back line, the whole midfield is basically coming back. And so kind of retooling some of the offensive components of it. And we have more depth on the bench so far with some more spots to be filled in still. So, I think we're, feel good that we're going to be in every game, it should be climbing up that ladder this year.
Well, the thing that I always wonder about is as the team gets better, the costs go up, but you seem to keep ticket prices pretty reasonable. What's it going to cost somebody to watch a game and to get season tickets?
Season tickets start at $185, and we have a youth ticket that's cheaper. But $185, and that includes men's and women's games, so that's 23 games you get a ticket to. And single game tickets are $15 to $20. We've had to right size season tickets admittedly this year. So tickets, single game, all went up 30-40%. That being said, this should be, if we aren't there yet, we'll be there very soon, the most season tickets we've ever sold. People, I think, our core fan base understands that, for us to be competitive, our ticket prices have to be somewhat in line with the other teams in the league.
It's an event. It's a fun event to go to. But did you see a bump changing leagues? I mean, do the casual fans, do they care about that? Is it like, oh wow, now we're playing a San Antonio or a bigger name city as opposed to just a local regional?
Yeah, like I think one of the biggest things last year is like I think we've gotten more consistent media coverage, and with the beat writer, with the news, that certainly helps.
ESPN Plus, because I've seen you guys on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I mean, between our games being on TV 20, then simulcast on ESPN Plus, like we're doing, it's all proprietary, but like we're doing really good TV numbers. We're tops in our league. With MLS moving to Apple Plus, like
you're tops in
our league in terms of viewership. Yeah.
What are some of the other big markets?
I mean, you got San Antonio, Tampa Bay, San Diego, Indianapolis. Like, we're playing all real teams in real cities.
Cities that are twice as big as I think San Antonio is well over 1 million people.
That's great.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, right. Like we're up there in terms of market, and so yeah, I mean, like we're definitely the most watched American team outside of MLS, and no one really knows what MLS numbers are now because they're on Apple Plus.
Yeah.
So that's been great. I mean, 4 of our 10 largest crowds ever were this past year. We had our first ever sellout prior to a game taking place. We had the first ever non-MLS game on ESPN proper last year. So being at this level certainly helped with exposure, and that has driven, I think, more people to the stands. Us being an MLS team last year, which I think was around the time I came last year.
Was that Columbus Crew?
Yeah, we knocked off Columbus Crew. And
you got Zardes traded right after it.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, it's funny. Like, I think that certainly helped raise our profile, and you can see some of our social media metrics. That was like obviously the biggest bump we've ever got was like in the 24 hours after that game. So, I think that's all helped us just.
It feels bigger from where I sit. It just feels, like a real. Not to say, I don't want to say real because that kind of demeans what you were doing, but a legit professional team.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
because you can see them on TV.
Right.
I mean, that's the measure of almost every professional team.
Right. It's funny. I was joking. Like, my brother-in-law saw our game on ESPN, and he was like, "Oh wow, this is like a real thing." And I was like, "Well, no shit. We've been at this for like a decade now."
When you got your brother-in-law's attention, that's the real sign of success. Forget about all the other shit.
Right.
It shows how much TV runs sports.
Yep.
It really does. Live viewing, and in a sense, sports is starting to run TV and streaming.
Well, it's an interesting landscape, and actually MLS is kind of at the forefront of it with their deal that they did with Apple Plus or Apple, TV, and I think everyone's kind of waiting to see what comes of that. But it's, it's an exciting time for us, and we're back at Keyworth in 2 weeks.
So, what's the capacity at Keyworth now?
7,231.
Can you fit anybody else in there?
No.
That's. Are you getting to a point where you're thinking we may have outgrown Keyworth?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's limitations to Keyworth. The romantic in me loves Keyworth. I think it's a very special place, like with the train tracks and the neighborhood and just the atmosphere. And it's funny, this time a year ago, as we were preparing, the league gave us, we had literally a 400 item punch list to get the stadium ready to like their specifications, U.S. Soccer specifications. And
visitor locker rooms, stuff like that. Yeah.
We had to build out a new shower an additional shower for referees with 48 hours notice. Like, it was just crazy, like what we were doing. And
referees, how about a hose and a sponge, right? I mean.
Yeah, don't get me started on the refs. But no, so like, this time a year ago, our league and U.S. Soccer hated Keyworth. And it's the only professionally sanctioned soccer stadium in America that's open to the public. So, like, right now, you could go up there and you can just play on the field. And that's the only stadium, American professional soccer, that you can do that in. And they hate it, and like, there's pressure on us to get into a new venue. I think attitudes have changed because they've seen how it looks on TV, the atmosphere, and like a better understanding of it. But that being said, like, financially, I think we are going to hit a plateau of like what we can do in there, and questions of like how our long-term stability, like does Keyworth enable us to continue growing or even be sustainable. So that being said, we don't have any stadium plans, and even if we did, we're going to be there for another 4 or 5 years. It's just that's how long it takes to do a project like that.
Okay, because
how much bigger though? What's the ballpark if you were going to move?
So I think one of the things, you saw with MLS Detroit is they did the math, and you can talk to any of the bean counters in this town. Like, I think you have a hard time justifying a 20,000 seat venue in this town. It's only used for 17 games and half dozen or so more concerts. I think what you're seeing in our league is kind of a sweet spot of venues that are like 12,000, 14,000 size venues that maybe don't have the same bells and whistles as the new MLS ones. But I don't think the market here or anybody who's writing those checks thinks that Detroit can sustain a $300 million soccer.
And I assume you want to stay in the city proper.
Yeah, I mean, my partners Todd, Alex, and I, we all are City of Detroit residents. That means a lot to us.
But the money is in Oakland County.
That's what people have told us. Like, we got to move out to Rochester. That was one of the first. That was one of the first meetings I took with one of the kind of the knowing people in Detroit sports, and they're like, well, "It's cute what you guys are doing, but the real money's out in Rochester." And I was like, "Well, we're Detroit City, that's who we are."
One of the annoying people in Detroit sport. Who would that be besides you, Windsor?
That's a good question, Mike, I guess. But all the hockey, baseball, football, basketball teams all play in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So why is that person? I mean, yeah, that was how people thought back in the 70s and 80s when the white flight was at its peak, probably, right?
Well, I think we've always gone up. I think since we launched, the attitudes have changed where the sport is seen now more as young professionals, Gen Z, whatever, and it's less the orange slices and soccer moms and suburban fields. And I think that era has changed. So but it's just core to who we are. That it would have to be in Detroit, Hamtramck. Yeah.
Well, it's I think about all the great ballparks there are, but I would still much rather go see a game at Wrigley Field before they started doing what they've been doing to it. Comerica Park is great, but I'd rather go to Tiger Stadium. I see the pictures of Ebbets Field and all these other great ballparks. I think, how cool would it be to go see a game there? And I think what Keyworth offers, while there are some limitations just based, it's a 80-year-old stadium built just before World War II, that kind of caps you on some things. But if I'm going to follow a team through the league, that's a unique, distinctive place. I mean, that's a place where when you walk up to it, it's like walking through a neighborhood, and all of a sudden there's a stadium there, and it doesn't rise from the ground, like some colossus, but it's a very intimate place, and it's the interaction with the fans and the fact that it doesn't have all those bells and whistles that means hot dogs are $10 instead of $3.50 or whatever they are, and where else can you get pierogi, during a game? There's a lot of charm there that I think sets you guys apart from what I'm sure are some pretty slick venues.
Yeah, I think if we're ever to leave Keyworth, there's a very high bar of what we have now in terms of how special it is, and how you match that. And, I think when we get back to why do you care about sports? And we ask ourselves that question, why would you care? Part of that aspect is, we're never going to have the top players on the field. And frankly, MLS can never say that as well, right?
Until they're on their way down, right?
Yeah,
that's when they get Beckham, that's when they get Messi, that's when they get whatever.
Right, frankly, we're in such a connected world that people are 4 times as likely to watch a European soccer match on a Saturday morning than an MLS match later that night, right? And that's just the nature of where we're at, right? Yeah. And so, why do you care? Why do you come out? And it's because it's a memorable experience, right? And I think that's what we offer. It's it's going to be an experience that you're going to talk about Monday at the water cooler if you go into the office, right? It's something special, and that's what we value, and Keyworth lends itself to that. Walking through the neighborhood, and I mean that's how I found Keyworth. I'm like a Christopher Columbus, a stadium that's 80 years old, right? Yeah. But I get my hair cut a few blocks away, and one night I'm walking out and I look on the porch. I'm like, what are those light towers? Why are they in the middle of this neighborhood? And I wander over there, and there's this stadium, that's right there. So
and now the Negro League field is being developed on the other side. So that's a very special and historic place. But I have friends all the time say, hey, are you going to DCFC this weekend or even during the week? And, I'm part of a season ticket club for the Red Wings, a season ticket club for the Tigers, and rarely do people say, hey, are you going to the ball game? Are you going to the rink? Because they're massive places. You're not going to run into anybody there. Yeah. But if you're going to Keyworth, even though 7,250 is not an insignificant capacity, you're going to run into somebody. You know, you're going to be in line for a beer. You're going to go get something to eat at halftime. Maybe you're going to take a look at some of the merch, or just cycling in there, or going to Bumbo's afterwards, or any one of the bars, Wicking the Jar, wherever. You're gonna bump into somebody. If they're going, you will see them there.
Yeah, it does. It definitely has a, I want to say small town, but like community vibes to it, right? It's a community, and like, you know, I find it funny that like Wrexham is like taken off like it has, and I was
so
like,
similar to that.
yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Well, ML was at our kickoff party a couple weeks ago, right? And like, I think this offseason, the most powerful thing to me is that the nexus, like the start of the team was I started a neighborhood soccer league, you know, that you're familiar with. And we're now at a point like 12 years later where those guys that we were drinking, guys and gals that we were drinking with back in the day at the Lager House and playing soccer with at Fort Wayne, like they now have kids who are playing in our youth system, and like their family like revolves around being at the field house, and they come to the games on Saturday, and it's like, it's just very, you know, yeah, it's becoming multi-generational, and like that's, you know, at its core, and that's very exciting for us.
Where's your documentary? Why don't you do a season in the life?
Yeah, what's Alex doing? Is he busy running a team or something?
We've been approached over the years, and the pitch has been so comical that someday we'll put him in a book, you know.
Really?
But like, yeah, like I mean, I think we're totally open to it. It's just it's never been a good like angle that they want to take, you know. So yeah,
it's just interesting because look at like F1. F1 has exploded in popularity because of the Netflix documentary. Yep. So much so that now golf is like, oh, we need to have a behind the scenes documentary. It's just, and like you mentioned, Wrexham is just an amazing way to grow, you know, grow a team or grow a brand. But then again, you're right. If they want to take a laughing version of it, but there's so many characters involved with the team in the Sub-Northern Guard and the supporters that be entertaining as hell.
Yeah, there's
what happened to the Jorts Cannon guy? That's what I want to know.
That's part of it, right?
I think I don't know, the Jorts. That's a great story. And that's like a documentary story. Like, so just goofing around and effing around when we started this up, buddy Ted, who played in the neighborhood league, who now owns
Cass
Quarter.
Quarter. Everybody hates us.
Yeah, right. And he wears
with good reason.
He wears jean shorts, and he now owns Metropolis Bikes down in Corktown. And we were trying to think of something fun, stupid that hadn't been done before. So he invented a spud gun that shot jean shorts into the crowd, right? And that became kind of a thing. But his business took off, and life happens, and it kept breaking. And so we had our 10th. This last year was our 10th anniversary, and so you know, Ted's like, I can get it fixed. I can come back for one game, and it happened to be like 10 years a day, and it was like a women's game that was 10 years a day from the first men's game, and it was a Wednesday night or Thursday night, so the crowd wasn't like great, you know, not by today's standards, but we had a ball boy, and some of our ball boys in their 30s, and one of our ball boys reached out, and he was just like, hey, I saw Ted's coming back, do you mind if I join him? I was like, well, sure, go ahead, yeah. And so he comes, and he's like, you know, he comes to Ted, and he's just like, hey, I got a pair of jean shorts, do you mind shooting these off? And Ted's like, yeah, sure, okay, I guess. So, you know, they go around and we play Forever in Blue Jeans by Neil Diamond, and, you know, at the end of it, the ball boy, Mann, you know, says, hey, Ted, that meant a lot to me, I really appreciate it. Those jean shorts were my dad's jean shorts, and he passed away back in December. And Ted's like, oh, you know, I'm so sorry. And he's like, you know, my dad got those jean shorts from you back at Cass Tech in 2012, and he wore them to every game, and it was always just kind of our thing, you know? And it was just like, and, you know, I just want to put them back in the ecosystem and pass them on to some other family, you know? And I was like, for me, that was like one of the highlights.
Cool story.
Yeah, it was one of the highlights of our 10th anniversary. It was like, you know, that like things carry on and how it becomes ingrained in like, you know, people's lives, and like, you know, how it's just keeps growing and growing, but like it's still very, you know, intimate.
And am I mistaken, or did I see the George Cannon on the wall at the field house up in the restaurant?
Yeah, it's been retired in the growing museum of artifacts.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I almost wanted to bow down. I mean, because that was one of the signature things where like, who the hell is throwing some raggedy ass jeans up into the crowd? And I hope I don't get hit in the face by the zipper, but I mean, it's a pretty cool thing.
Well, I mean, you know, just Trust that we're always committed to like doing stupid stuff, and so like while Gene Schwartz might retire, I just went up to like Macomb County and bought like a trailer for like $500 off Craigslist from like some guy in some elementary school parking lot yesterday, because we're gonna build a float that like we'll have at the parade in St. Patrick's Day this Sunday.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, and I just bought some eBay mannequins that may or may not break in the middle of it. I don't know. Like
That's fun.
Yeah, we're just gonna.
I actually will be judging the floats at the St. Patrick's Day
there you go.
parade this Sunday, so I'll be watching out for that one.
I'm kind of stuck on this whole the guy who told you to go to Rochester. Who you don't have to say who it is, but you have an interesting history with the other sports teams in the city. Do you want or would you need any kind of assistance from any team, and what shape would you want or need it?
I mean, I think we have good relationships with the other teams in town. I've made a point this offseason to like meet with the other front offices and just build those relationships, because we've had fun. Like, I mean, we launched the Capitol Park store downtown, which has been a huge hit, but it's been just great like foot traffic. So just happened to be back in like August. Some of the Red Wings were in town for preseason, and they just wandered into it, and lo and behold, they bought a suite on their own, and they had the whole. Like 16 of the Red Wings came out like that night to a game, right? It's just like, and we've had Lions and stuff, like just fun cross promotion. So, no, I think we're in a good spot with them. I don't really have like any big ask.
That's why I said interesting. That's why I was just wondering, how they could help or if they would even be interested. But yeah, the players.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways they acknowledge that we're tapping into a younger demo than their core fan bases, and so I think there's and they just have larger numbers than we do, so I think it makes sense for us to work together. There's not, I mean, we're not necessarily in direct competition with them.
If we could coax you into getting the Jorts cannon back, or maybe a Jorts a pult, like a slingshot or something, I think we could get LaDuff to donate his jorts.
No,
don't you
he
think?
still wears them.
Does he still wear them?
Yeah.
I think we'd want to have those laundered, but I think we might be able to supply some celebrity jorts if that comes back. And Maureen's watching us on Facebook and says Keyworth definitely has that community feel, and you can really get that passion and that entertainment value out of it. Talking about TV and seeing what's going on with Bally Sports and these regional sports providers, did Bally ever approach you guys about being part of their network or teaming up?
So we had one game on there when we hosted FC St. Pauli from Germany. So quite a few teams in our leagues are on their RSNs. Problem with Bally's here is with all the games that they have, like it's hard to squeeze in, between the three teams they have. So
you're at the same time. There are nights you're playing against the Tigers, and probably drawing a bigger crowd.
Then March, April, September, October, you're going up against Red Wings, Pistons, and everything like that. So, so I think it'd be hard to fit onto their calendar. We found a really nice spot on TV 20, locally, and then the ESPN numbers, are doing great as well.
So. No, it feels like you dodged a bullet with that Bally's, because I'm sure when they're sitting here saying, well, who are we not going to send a check to first? It's like, DCFC, what are they going to do, sue us?
Yeah, I mean, it's our league put out, MLS's contract expired. And so that was the big thing, is like MLS's valuations were, being pinned to what they were going to get off this TV deal, and ended up they got the big check from Apple. But I think as time is quickly moving on here, people are realizing some of the details of it, and it's kind of changing the landscape for them. So our league.
When you say people are realizing the details, do you mean from the TV side? Because Apple's going to lose money on it, or do you mean from the individual ownership side? Or
so
from
all
the
the production costs is like shifted to the
team
MLS
and the league?
team. Yeah, the league is so it's $2.5 billion is the big number, but spread out over 10 years, and then all the production cost is being thrown on to the teams.
It's
and
not
now
an
they're
easy thing to learn.
Yeah, and so now the details are coming out, like what assets will Apple retain, what assets the team retain, and I think there's still, even though they're 2 weeks in the season, there's a lot of questions on like what kind of checks the teams are going to get when they net out everything. So it's it's not surprising to see Garber put out statements about, well, now we're serious about teams 31 and 32, right? Because that's been their most tried and true like revenue generator for the league. It's
the entry fee, right? I think
you can only expand so many times.
No, and I think when they expanded the NHL, the salary cap jumped because they had this influx of revenue, but then once you're not bringing new teams in, you kind of level off, and it's like,
the best way to bring new teams in and create excitement is through promotion and relegation. It's the best thing the sport of soccer has throughout the world, and just they refuse to do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can talk about forever. I think
it'll never happen.
Yeah, it won't, because I think the money's too entrenched. But like, I think it hits a sweet spot pro rel in the sense that like, clearly Americans who are taking interest in the sport are gravitating towards the European game. Not just because of the quality, but part of the narratives as well. So it's like you can appeal to those like soccer purists who are gravitating to the European game, but also create something that's like niche-y and unique in the American landscape, and creates like storylines that the other teams don't have, right? And so, but that being said, I feel like every year that those valuations that most teams go higher and higher, those teams are just more and more entrenched. That like, it's just going to be the way it is.
So do you get rights money now from ESPN and from Channel 20?
So we self-produce the TV 20 stuff. So we retain all the assets. So we sell everything. So we keep everything there. And then ESPN Plus, they retain some assets and then they offset like production costs.
So it's not like there's a huge new influx of cash. Okay. And do you notice that there are new revenue streams coming into you now that you're at this, you're basically the Toledo Mud Hens?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different conversations with our corporate partners, that our exposure is now 5-6 times higher than it was, 2 years ago. So it just puts in the better conversation, and our partners have been great and they've grown with us and they understand, how things have changed. And so that's been a huge help.
So one of the things I heard at the annual meeting is that there were losses last year and there are losses projected for this year. And that made me really nervous. Should we be worried about the future of DCFC?
I mean, I don't take anything for granted, and know that like we're always working around the clock, and as I was mentioning, like our goal is to be a generational project, right? So we definitely had losses last year, in part because we transitioned so abruptly. So most of our corporate partnership deals were already in place when we made the move up.
And your expenses, I'm sure, must have just skyrocketed. I mean, you're flying now instead of taking a bus to Lansing. I mean,
right. And the players, like the quality of players, the expectations of the players have a union.
Paid.
Yeah, they have a union, CBA. But
you got a coach with an accent. That's not cheap.
But then like the whole support system, like everything that goes into like getting the team ready, all those expenses have gone up. So I think this year, like I said, we right-sized the ticketing prices, and we've gotten our corporate partners to grow with us. So that gap is closing, and our goal is by 24 being a break-even operation.
Okay. So your sponsors were tied in before you made the jump.
I mean, like legally, I can't go into too much of it, but like, our prior league was stuttering, to put it politely, and so we had to make an abrupt move, and so we did. And at that point, we'd already sold 2/3 of our season tickets, and almost all of our corporate partnerships had already been locked in. So
you kind of had a feeling there was going to be a loss there.
Yeah,
right?
we raised the capital with the expectation that we're going to take it on the chin for a couple of years as we get to where we need to be.
So you can redo the sponsors.
Yeah, we very quickly fell out of the running for naming rights to the jerseys for Solar Detroit. Once they went to the championship league, we're like, I think we better get out of there.
Yeah.
there's one too many zeros, which for us is maybe 2 zeros.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the fans who have suggestions on partners, potential partners, and it's just like, that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But are they like?
Sounded a little facetious.
No. Those are the same people who call into Sports Radio and say, why don't we trade the long snapper for Tom Brady, but not Tom Brady now. We'll go back in time and we'll get him when he was 30. It's like, we're working on that. We got a team around the clock on that one. So
not to be stuck on the whole MLS, USL, but here I go. Battle, they play for a cup, right? I mean, isn't there a cup that the country has?
Yeah, so it goes back to like 1914. It's called the U.S. Open Cup, and it's
open to everybody.
Open to everybody. So there's a qualifiers for the top amateur teams, but then every professional team's automatically entered into it. So we start, I think, like we're round 2, but there's a whole host of qualifying rounds before you even get to round 1. So we're round 2, and then the MLS teams join the following round. So
what's the best a non-MLS team has done in recent history?
Yeah, so last year Sacramento, who's in our league, who we tied. No, we actually lost them last year. But anyway, Sacramento, who's in our league, they lost in the finals to Orlando.
And you beat the Crew, right? So
beat the Crew.
Yeah.
So it shows there's somewhat of a level playing field.
Yeah, that was a highlight for us. For me, I was joking, like all these memories over the past decade. But here we were at Keyworth, and the atmosphere was absolutely electric, and there was like a vibe to it and everything. It was like super exciting, and we beat the Crew, I hop in the car and I go to Dooley's for my post game celebration, and I'm listening to Pat Caputo just trashing soccer on the car ride back. He's just like, Pat's doing his thing about like
you're never gonna win those.
No, but but hearing him talk about it, and then people calling in, being like, I don't know, man, this seems like that was a fun night, or people would keep calling him in, and he was like, well, no one cares more about that team in Hamtramck than the Tigers do. I was like, and everyone's calling in, and then I go to Dooley's, and they got on the radio, WWJ, and they're doing like an update of the score and everything like that. It was like, for me, that was kind of like big night.
Validation, yeah.
You can make a lot of money betting against Pat Caputo, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Sean, I know we got to let you go in a minute. Tell us about the first home game, where people can find out more about the team, and if there's tickets available for the home opener.
So the first game is this Saturday in San Diego on ESPN Plus. They're owned by Landon Donovan, the San Diego team, and should be a full house, and they're league favorites, so that'll be a great test to start the season. But then our home opener is Saturday, March 25th, 4 o'clock, Keyworth, and single game tickets just went on sale a few days ago. So definitely single game tickets left, but we're pushing for a capacity crowd to start the season right.
And you can get those on the team's website, or?
www.debtcityfc.com.
So debtcityfc.com. We'll put a link to their website on our website. Sean, thanks for coming in, and looking forward to a great season. And if you're going to Keyworth, you'll see me there. You may see Sean there, because the Free Press is starting to cover the team a little bit more, which I'm glad to see.
We don't have a beat writer. Can you do something about that? Use your influence, because the Detroit News has one.
Yeah,
it's done well for them. They keep. I think it's worked out well for them. So
I remember taking the new editor of the Free Press, who's now gone, to his first game at Keyworth, and I said, we have all those ads up at Comerica Park and all the other stadium. They're all lost, and all the other ads are all big. I said, if you had that Free Press logo right at center field here at Keyworth, how many people would you have seeing that? Where that would be the biggest logo they see, and this is a rabid, loyal fan base. How many new people would you be introducing to the Detroit Free Press? And he said, that's very interesting, but I don't know if it went any further than that.
100% correct.
I would say editorial-wise, our fan base is probably more inclined to Free Press than news, but that doesn't stop them from subscribing to the news to read the articles. So.
Some of those Northern Guard guys who look a little scary, they may be news guys. I'm not sure. The smoke bombers.
That hardcore group of fans, I mean, we've seen it in podcasting too, will support something they love, and they'll support the sponsors.
Oh, I've told you before.
I mean, without a doubt.
When I was flogging the Kwame Sutra, which is still available at local bookstores, I would go on WWJ, I'd go on WJR, I'd go on WDET, I'd go on any radio station that would have me, did not sell a single book, even with guys like Paul W. Smith pushing it so hard. I'd go on Drew and Mike, and the minute I hang up, I got 7 sales, and I have to go to the post office and ship them, because when you have an audience, like our audience, they understand if they don't support our sponsors and they don't support our show, sometimes with donations or just by saying a kind word to somebody, we're going to go away. And this is really an organic thing, and that's the beautiful thing about DCFC is you keep getting bigger, but you still have that kind of intimate feel to it. And before I let you go, I forgot I wanted to ask you, what have you heard about MLS coming to Detroit? What have you heard about Dan Gilbert? I just wrote about the billionaires making all these plans that they don't fulfill. The 23,000-seat stadium at the failed jail site, then at Ford Field, and then the next thing we know,
scam.
We get passed over by MLS. Then Gilbert's trying to buy Chelsea. Is anybody still trying to? I mean, what are you hearing in the grapevine?
I mean, I think Detroit's always going to be on the short list, and it's going to be like one that like the league will always kind of stoke the flames on. But I think the reality is like MLS does not excel in northern cities where they're going up against entrenched the four major sports and college teams. Some of the weakest markets for the league are like Chicago, Philadelphia's doing better, but like Boston. That's not the league's strong suit. It's more the Sun Belt with younger populations. And so I think there's healthy skepticism in this community about building the $300 million stadium. And that's where Gilbert and Gores were. That's why they pivoted to Ford Field. And I don't think anything's changed in that sentiment, in this town. So, I think we'll always be brought up because we're a top 15 media market, but it's, what I would have said 5 years ago, it's inevitable. I wouldn't say that today.
Yeah, because it seemed like the billionaires are trying to kick in the door with MLS, but now if I hear Detroit mentioned, it's MLS sort of saying, we want to go here and here, and then of course there's so-and-so and so-and-so, and Detroit, but I don't get the sense that Gilbert and Gores or any of the deep pockets are interested in running a soccer team in Detroit anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Would you want to go up against? I'm serious.
I mean,
I wouldn't want to go up against what you guys have built.
And if you look at the roster of like local guys who have the resources to do it, frankly, they all have their team already. Ishbia just got the Suns, right? So it's like, who's got to be in their bonnet to own a major league team and make that type of investment? And I don't know who that is. We'll just focus on what we're doing and keep growing it and, I guess be the biggest team outside of MLS.
Okay, Sean Mann, CEO of DCFC. They're coming back to town March 25th, is it, at Keyworth? So get your tickets and watch them this Saturday playing in San Diego at, what time is that game?
10 o'clock Eastern.
10 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Plus. Okay, so you can see Le Rouge on TV this weekend.
10 o'clock Eastern, so that's a 7 a.m. local start.
Classic West Coast swing, right? Yeah.
10 a.m. Yeah, I guess I was thinking 10 p.m. So,
no,
yeah.
10 p.m.
No,
No,
10 p.m. I thought you said 10 a.m.
No,
Okay.
10 p.m. Eastern.
10 p.m. Okay, yeah. So it's just like watching football,
Okay,
the
that's
last
normal.
game of the college football day. So it should be great. So, and you know what? Mad Cat Peel says that fee-free tickets are available at the DCFC Capital Park store. If you want to save the VIG, and a cheapskate like me knows all about that, go into the Capital Park store and see all the cool swag, because years ago, Sean said when we were running the team kind of, out of the back of our trunks, it was more like a T-shirt company. Sure. It is a professional, very well-run soccer organization, but they still do have some pretty cool swag. So you want to check that out, too.
Yeah, I think we were second in the league in merchandise revenue last year. So we still do our hefty share on that front.
Yeah, so check it out. And they have a store as well at the Detroit City Fieldhouse. It's open on Wednesdays and Saturdays, so you can check that out. And if you ever go up there, my girls grew up playing hockey at the Fieldhouse. And when it was City Arena, and there was this big space between the rinks that was just kids running around in broken chairs and stuff. It's now an excellent restaurant and bar. You can watch the games. There's all kinds of cool stuff up there. So if you're at Mount Elliott and Lafayette in Detroit, check out the Fieldhouse. A lot of great stuff there, too. A lot of fun. A lot of leagues going out of there, too. So check out Come Play Detroit. And, of course, all the soccer programs that DCFC is doing there for kids and folks who are, this generational soccer, I'm not really enjoying that, because now I'm playing against the kids who were kids when they run all over you, and I'm a shitty soccer player, so it was always a humbling experience, but what can I tell you? Time moves on. So Sean, thanks very much.
Appreciate it.
And if you missed it this weekend, I wrote about the billionaires who seem to always be taking, well, they're always asking us for stuff. They're asking for hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks. This week or next week, the Illich organization, Olympia Development, and their partners, related companies, are hoping that the Detroit City Council will approve an $800 million incentive package for them to build another $1.5 billion worth of their District Detroit vision. The deal's a little different than the last one. And before they had a property tax mechanism. Now what they want to do is take payroll tax so that, and this is an interesting thing how they work these brownfield tax captures. If they get approval to do this, they will collect $616 million in sales tax that would have gone to the state, and income tax that would have gone to the state, or they'll be exempt from sales tax. The net effect is that's $616 million less dollars that would be going into government's pockets. But they say, why not give them to us? Because if we don't build the project, we don't get to collect this money. And so I talked a little bit in this weekend's Free Press about all the projects the billionaires have been pitching where they've sold government on giving them big tax subsidies that haven't happened. Gilbert's tallest building in Detroit is going up, but it won't be the tallest building in Detroit.
Taking forever.
Yeah, the soccer stadium and the Gateway project at 375 in Gratiot, where the failed jail was going up or never really got up. Nothing's happening there.
That drawing of that area looked so cool.
Oh my God! Now, have you noticed the one thing that survived is that funky sort of Jawa wagon style Detroit Innovation Center?
Yes, yeah.
That's still the design, but now they say they're going to build it in District Detroit over by LCA, behind LCA. So that's kind of a cool looking building. I hope they do pull that off, but. Brewster Douglas, former projects, was supposed to be this amazing residential,
it's just
and
a field.
There's nothing there. I mean, it's pretty bleak many years later, and it goes on and on. Dan Gilbert, there's no question, has done a lot to revive Detroit. What he's done with his individual projects has been nothing short of transformational. But it seems like the bigger these projects get, the less likely they are to come through. So. City government will be taking a look at this latest Ilitch deal. I hope that they scrutinize it the way they should, because it seems most of the time they're in a big hurry to vote and not in a big hurry to do their homework or to figure out a way to evaluate these projects to see, have you done what you said you were going to do to qualify for all these breaks? And I hope those questions will be asked. I know if I was on city council, I would have been asking.
That's what I was going to say. To me, it's on the politicians. Stop rubber stamping them.
Do you need a breath, Mike?
No, I'm rolling.
No, just curious.
Do you need some caffeine?
Yeah.
You're awfully quiet there.
Yeah, no.
This is when Sean starts to shine, though, halfway through a show.
It's the early start. It's the early start.
Is it the early start?
Yeah, because you wouldn't be here for another 15 minutes.
Well, no. Sean, our guest, the main Sean, the one Sean that counts, was confused. We kind of wrapped it up with him, but we kind of didn't. So he was sort of sitting there thinking, am I free to go? Am I not free to go? And I was thinking, well, Mike was going to take a pause at some point.
Why are you pulling back the curtain?
And dismiss him. And,
he did. He said goodbye to him.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Are you a big fan of long goodbyes?
Oh, yeah, probably.
I mean, it's not like we have a commercial break.
It's hard to hang up, you know what I mean?
Commercial break in 3, 2. No, I like.
Mike and I have trouble getting off the phone, right? Sometimes.
I like the Irish goodbye. I'm not good at it, but I kind of like that sort of like, where'd so and so go? It's like, it's the Irish goodbye. Yeah. He's gone. You know?
It's racist.
Yeah, my mother-in-law used to just hang up. Just just all of a sudden,
like in a TV show.
All of a sudden, she wasn't there.
Yeah, click. TV show hang up.
Yeah.
Melrose Place. Just do it all the time. Yeah. That was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
I love it when you've got friends on the phone, like people you really know who aren't going to be offended, and they get another caller. You just go hard out, and you hang up. It's just like, no problem, man.
Yeah,
it's like, I know you got to go. I'm done. We're done here. Instead of, okay, I know, but I really got to grab. You spend so much time apologizing that you have to catch the other call that you miss the other call. It's just like hard out. Done.
That's why texting's great. Just I don't need any of the small talk. Just tell me what you want, and I'll tell you what we'll do.
I had a boss who used to send me messages, and at the end it would say EOM. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, end of message. It was basically her way of saying, that's it. We got nothing more.
So no more
end
responses.
of message.
It's done.
Yeah, it's like I got no more to say.
Or you could say end of EOT, end of thread, or whatever.
Let me ask you this: on your text messages with people, are you the last one to respond, or are they the last one to respond?
It depends. Both. You want to be both. You want to be both.
You can't be the last one to respond and let somebody else be the last one.
Yeah, for one day, and then maybe the next time, then there, and so you want to make sure that you're doing both.
What do you think mine's like?
What do I think yours is?
Everybody else is the last to respond. I don't know.
Really?
I'm a terrible communicator.
I guess that's not shocking.
Well, no, it's just like, okay, I got it. Why do I have to say, I got it? EOM.
You know what's interesting? I remember when call waiting, which is a long time ago, kind of came in, and it forced you to, people get their feelings hurt or whatever. It forces you to prioritize. Well, wait, you're going to take their call? You're fucking talking to me.
Exactly.
And that's
There's a whole Seinfeld episode over that. Who wins the phone battle?
Yeah.
It's like you got bumped. It's like, wait a minute, their mother died, and you bumped them for my call. They lost the face off on them. Their mother dying.
But it's a thing now. Obviously, if you get bumped, 2 minutes into the call, it better be important. It better be right. Somebody's work or spouse or
Yeah, but you never know.
child or whatever. But no, you don't.
Just pretend there's.
I got to take this call. But good friends will tell you often who. Oh, so and so's calling, or a work's calling, or whatever. Of course, they could be lying.
My least favorite thing is is Oblivion, where somebody jumps over.
The Tom Cruise movie?
No. When you jump over and you're counting, you're like,
That's what I was thinking, Sean.
I've been here for 2 minutes. I've been here for 3 minutes. Are they going to come back? Should I just hang up?
Or should I say the Morgan Freeman movie?
And there are some people who come back and they're like, oh, hey, sorry, man. Like, I was waiting for 5 minutes. What the hell? But there are people
When
who
it's
will do that.
miscommunicated, you're right. Some people, exactly.
But they don't even think about it. They're just like, yeah, I got to take this call. Ding, 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 ding.
Well,
ding.
you normally would say, I'll call you back, or we'll talk later, or we'll talk later this week or tonight or whatever. There's some communication there, right? Of expectation.
No, I know there are people who just leave me hanging, just like, oh, shit, man, I got to finish this call. This joker will be waiting when I get back. His life sucks. I'm like,
Time for ML. That's at least a half hour.
that's kind of cold. I mean, I know I'm tedious, but at least let me get on with my life.
Well, thank you for letting me get on with this
There's
podcast.
irony.
Yeah.
Huh? What? What happened?
Okay, last
Well,
thing.
nothing. We shifted away from the billionaires, so my mission was accomplished.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, if you want to read
There's
more,
Sean Windsor, always
about that,
protecting billionaires.
you can find the link on our website.
It's shocking. They want to build stuff, and they haven't come up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, hey, listen, you can build whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Just don't take $500 million of my money and then not give me.
No,
what you
for
told
sure.
me.
No, for sure. I completely agree with you all. It's just, it's.
Oh damn! I thought Sean was standing up for the man again. That's I love that.
No, I agree with you all. It's just not new. But go ahead.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, you
We just did. We just had a really fun conversation. What's next on the agenda, though? That's what I want.
what you were asking.
Not the agenda. Sorry, the rundown. The agenda makes it sound like we're, manipulative.
You were asking how we can provide a beat writer to cover DCFC at the Detroit Free Press, and I was just trying
Use
to,
your influence.
I was just trying to encourage people to subscribe to the Free Press, consume our great content. Sean has some stuff on there too. Freep.com. You can get a 3 months for 99 cents. It supports the journalism. It supports the reporters. And as we grow, we can expand our coverage and we can bring on a full-time beat writer for DCFC and a lot of the other great things going on in Detroit. So please,
Maybe I should try that, Michael.
you'll find a link on our website,
Maybe I should try that.
which is ML Soul of Detroit.
I don't want to compare it to the Rhinos because
.com.
that's dismissive. That was a beer league. But
You know what? That Rhinos thing, for which Sean, by the way, people don't know this, but Sean basically won the Pulitzer Prize of sports writing for a series he did during an NHL lockout on a beer league team. He covered their season as if he was a beat writer covering them as his full-time job. It was outstanding, a genius idea.
it was
well
Mike's. It
executed.
was Mike's idea.
Oh,
yeah.
was that mine? I don't know about that, but you
Yeah.
found a great team. They were
was
compelling.
that me?
Do you ever catch up with those guys? Do you know what they're doing?
I stayed in touch with a few of them loosely for a long time, and then just kind of, as life does, it kind of peters out a little bit, or you get busy or whatever. But I might have some time. Maybe we should I shouldn't say have some time. We should make some time to maybe go cover a few games and see what happens. Because every time I've gone to a DCFC game, I've written about larger stuff, not to say more important stuff, but the scene or a little bit about the game in the larger context of what's going on and what's happening in the success of this organization and it's the unlikely rise. Something along those lines. There's been a larger narrative rather than just what's happening on the pitch, as they would say. So maybe we should experiment.
I
a
think
little
it'd be
bit.
interesting to
And
see if
write
they've chased off the big guys.
And see if I could do a few game columns.
And you won an award for that hockey series?
I wonder if we could do a few game columns.
Did you
and
get a
see-
10% pay cut? I hear that happens when you win awards.
6.5%.
Oh, 6.5%. Did you get 6.5% pay cut?
Well, yeah, I did because everybody got it, but Mike's made that pay cut all about him. But no, everybody at the Free Press got that same fucking pay cut.
Yeah, but he thought Pulitzer Prize winners should have been exempt.
No, I didn't think that at all. I just
I don't
thought.
know. I just made that up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in fact.
I have no idea what you think.
No, believe me, it started as a 13% pay cut, but.
Well, then it's a victory. Then you gain 10%. Or no, what? How much? What did you say? 6?
You went to U of M. Come on.
I have short-term memory.
By the way, Mark, I just got
certain reasons.
I just got a text from a colleague, not at the Free Press, but a colleague of Gannett,
Yeah.
who is really irritated that the Michigan column that I wrote about Juwan Howard, Michigan's basketball, didn't have my name in the headline, because that's what a lot of opinion pieces at some papers around the country will include the author's last name in the headline.
Like Monterez.
Like Mitch has in his contract, but to clearly delineate that is an opinion piece. So he's saying to me that because he's tied into the Michigan State community, that I'm getting quote tweeted all over the place, and they're saying it's part of the blue wall. And people, but people legitimately, this is a good question for Mike too. People legitimately think it's the Free Press's opinion and not mine. And my colleague, let's just say his name, Graham Couch, who's a columnist at the Lansing State Journal.
Yeah, it's a made-up name.
Says that we're confusing our readers and is contributing to their Michigan State readers anyway, contributing to their idea of a blue wall, because they think, if it's just a headline, that's the Free Press's opinion and not the individual columnist or opinion writer.
I just think it's great that a guy named Couch is covering Michigan State. I mean, how perfect is that?
We should get him in here sometime. He's
It'd be like having a guy named Duche covering Michigan.
He's fun and super opinionated, so
that's a French name.
Like-minded, right? A little bit, but plus he covers your favorite university.
I think it's America's favorite university.
Is it?
Yeah, I'd love to have Graham in. He's great.
Yeah,
he's really good.
He's fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people covering Michigan State. David Harns does a great job. Jim Comparoni, you got Couch. Michigan must have a similar,
our guy. How about the Free Press's guy, Chris Solari?
It goes without saying.
Yeah, he's good.
It's the Solari system.
Dogged.
We're all part of the Solari. We all rotate around Chris Solari.
But anyway, real quickly for y'all, should newspapers, news organizations put a last name or some other way to make sure that people understand its opinion?
You used to know a columnist because it was a column.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way. But
online's changed it, right? So
there should be some kind of notification. But to me, that's been the problem with media in general, is punditry and columnists get mixed in to reporters.
Completely agree.
Yeah, and journalists. And so it's just this blurring of what's opinion and what's fact, and then it all becomes fake news.
Yeah,
exactly.
No,
Completely agree.
People went to CNN for news, and when Fox really larded their show up with opinion and did really, really well, CNN adjusted, MSNBC adjusted, all these other places adjusted. So now you have more analysis and opinion than you have news, and people think that's the media, and they think the same thing happens at the local level. And there's just a level of sophistication that, and it's not a high one, but we assume that people have that they don't. So when I'm teaching journalism, I would ask my students, what's the difference between a news story, a column, an editorial, and an advertisement? Because I would have people send me emails when I was covering City Hall saying, hey, I really liked your ad in the Free Press yesterday. I'm like, shit, I didn't pay for that, man. That was just straight up news.
Well,
people don't understand the difference.
No, they don't.
We make it very, very hard now.
We do. I get responses, emails all the time from people calling what I wrote an article or a story, whatever. And technically that's true, but it's a column, right? Or some people saying, just stick to the facts. I'm like, oh, yes, I understand, but it's an opinion piece, right? So I have to explain that. I get,
What gets more clicks, a column or a report?
Oh, it depends. It really depends. I mean,
a news story or an opinion piece?
Both. If it's a news story's really newsy or got something that people, they can do really well for sure.
Well, and it's hard to tell now too because of the paywall. So most of our what we think is going to be our high impact stories or columns or whatever are behind the paywall, so only subscribers can access them. So when I wrote that column about going to the Republican State Convention and stopping at the Nut House, we get like a report every morning on what did what, and I had like the by far #1 read story in the paper. Smoked album, killed everybody. I was like, holy shit, that must have been a great. Everybody went crazy for that. Did so great. And then somebody told me the next day, it's like, yeah, they forgot to make it subscriber only. So you do massive traffic because everybody who wants to read it can read it. So the needle goes through the roof. If it had been subscriber only, it would have been a significantly
How is that
smaller.
decided? How is that decided? I mean, you don't have any say over that. Is that all
No,
editors?
it's editors decide that. They try to.
But I don't like working for free, so I'm just like, yeah.
They
put
try
a
to
tag on
guess.
mine.
They try to guess what will sell subscriptions. That's basically
I get it.
It's like a
Premium content.
Still
It's
a
like
business.
how you arrange a grocery store, right? And where you put stuff and putting vegetables at the back or whatever, or
But like,
any kind of business.
Going back to
I'm
my
writing
last,
chocolate-covered vegetables.
going back to my last
People
question.
want
So,
that shit.
if Mitch Albom writes about the Michigan State shooting, that's a bad example because everybody's going to want to read the report. If Mitch Albom writes about the Super Bowl winner, are more people likely to read that or read about the Super Bowl? Because anybody can get information about the Super Bowl.
So that's a good question because I think our Lions writer, Dave Burkett, who's fabulous, has been at Super Bowls for a long time. I don't think he went this year. But there's been a 10-year stretch where both of them have been at the Super Bowl, and my guess is, and I haven't looked at the numbers off the top of my head, that makes no sense. I haven't looked at the numbers, but my guess is Album would sell more subscriptions off the Super Bowl.
That's a little different too because everybody watches the Super Bowl. I'm just thinking of, an
I don't know if we'd put the Super Bowl game story behind a paywall because everybody knows you can.
No, not for
right?
Dave, but we might for Mitch because people want to read
Mitch for sure. Yeah. Well, I'll just tell
But
you.
sometimes we don't put him behind the paywall. If he's writing about a friend of his in the industry or something, he writes a lot of personal stuff. Sometimes that's not behind a paywall.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking at it
I
right
haven't
now.
noticed-
Only about 50% of his last 10 columns are behind a paywall.
Yeah, right. So, or if he's opining about an issue that has nothing to do with Michigan specifically, it's more of a national thing. Those are often not behind a paywall.
But what about you? Are people more likely to read your glowing praise of the Michigan basketball team, or are they more likely to read the story about losing to Indiana?
My column today would probably sell more subs than the game story.
It's a great column.
However,
Pissed off a lot of people.
yeah, right. And that's the reason. That's not why I did it. But
No, I know.
If
That's what makes it-
on the
you
other
know what?
hand,
if you did it,
if Michigan won, had beaten Indiana, and that would secure an NCAA bid, that probably would have come close or maybe surpassed in terms of subs. It's so dependent on the news. It's just so it really is. What were we going to say, Mark?
no, I was just gonna say that's why I think it got a lot of responses, or why people might want to read it. Because but I know you. I know that's not your intention. Whereas there's been people in the past that purposely will write negative shit to kind of stir up.
And here I am writing positive.
I get it.
Here I am doing the opposite. I'm writing positive shit when I know people out there are pissed.
But
And I'm
naturally,
and I'm
anything
just
positive about Michigan
take a breath.
is going to be negative to some Michigan State
Well, no,
people.
Michigan State-
Michigan State positivity would be negative towards Michigan.
Absolutely. Michigan State fans are
kind of the
apparently
joy of it,
killing me on Twitter right now. But the last couple of columns I've written about the Spartans basketball have been, I'm like, hey, these guys are playing great and give them a break and this and that. Yeah, I don't know.
And for those that haven't read John's column, let's just talk about it now.
I mentioned Michigan State in the column, by the way.
But all you basically said was Michigan's, they're probably not going to make the tournament this year. They still can. It's possible, not probable. But your whole point is, hey, the team really improved this year. And that's, that's what the point of that season was.
And the youngest team in the league. And that some years, that's what you're going to be. You're not going to make a run every year. You're not going to be competing for the Big Ten title every year.
Here's the beauty about sports. For a lot of people, all that matters are wins and losses. Right? So when you see something like that, people are going to be like,
but that can't be every year, or what would you have, right?
Because you only have one champion every year.
Exactly.
I understand.
You got to have something else.
I get that, but I don't know. It's really, look. I love the team. It's my school. I follow them like crazy. I know exactly what you're saying, but I totally understand why someone would go, yeah, they fucking Howard's on the hot seat.
No, everybody's upset with me today for this because Michigan State fans think I'm just giving Howard a pass or sucking up to him or whatever, and it's a part of the blue wall. Michigan fans, especially who are not happy with Howard, think that I'm sucking up to. So yeah, everybody's mad today. It's one of those days.
Good column. You got an emotional reaction out of people, right?
Well, and what's interesting about this column to me is in the process, and it's a good reminder, is I wrote the column, and the original lead was a couple of paragraphs down. I thought, you know what, the heck with this, I'm just going to say it. And so I started off, no, Juwan Howard's not on the hot seat. I can't believe we're having this conversation, but this is how short memories and long expectations are, et cetera, et cetera. And then I went into the column I'd just written. And I think that top is what's really probably getting people. That's not why I did it, but I just thought, yeah, sometimes Mike will tell you, sometimes you write your thing and you go back and you're like, oh, this top sucks.
Well, this is what's
I've
great.
actually never done that. I've always wondered whether it's magic or whether there's angels working through my fingers, but I'm usually pretty happy.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, angels are on your shoulders, too.
I'm just a vessel.
You are. What were we going to say, Mark?
I was just going to say, once again, the great thing, especially about college sports, is it's really hard to follow every single team, right? So you follow your team, and I wonder how many people that are looking at Michigan's record and laughing at them as, right, the season is kind of a failure based on wins and losses. You expect them to be better, but how many people know they were 4-12 in games decided by 6 points or fewer? Is that a Pyrrhic victory? Probably. Sure, whatever. But
well, as I wrote in the column,
what if they were 12-4 in those games?
No, for sure. But as I wrote in the column, if this becomes
my
a
point
pattern,
being, they're not so bad.
Cyrus, take us out.
My point being, they're not so bad that he's on the hot seat.
no, of course not. But
There's
look,
context.
If it becomes a pattern, this is how I always try to put things in context. If it becomes a pattern, and they're starting to lose games like this a couple of years in a row, or certainly
Get 'em
3
out.
years in a row,
Absolutely.
then yeah, that's a different conversation. But 1 year off of a Sweet 16 and a Final 8, come on.
Well, how much is this is a factor of the Big Ten being really good? I think right now there's only 2 teams in the top 25 from the Big Ten, which is inconceivable.
It's a down year for.
I don't think the Big Ten's really good. It's just really there's a lot of parity.
You have Rutgers beating people up. I mean, it seems like even the bottom of the league
Northwestern
is
was in
pretty
second
good.
place, right?
No, I think Northwestern's the other ranked team because I think
Yeah.
maybe Indiana's still hanging on, but you got Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, and then Maryland floats up, and
No, lots of parity.
Insane.
But yeah, we don't want to break the Big Ten conference down here.
It's
but
all
yeah.
no, but I mean they were a
sorry.
They were a powerhouse.
Trying to take an interest in your work, honey.
Until this year, they were the
I don't.
conference for the last 5 years. surpassing the ACC. Now everybody
Just not in the postseason. The Big Ten had won a national title since
Sure.
Izzo did it. Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, you had really good teams sending a lot of good players to professional leagues.
No, for sure.
Now that this year it's shifted all to the Big 12, and how good they've been.
For sure.
It's a college basketball breakdown.
Damn. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, before we do analyze all the is it 14 teams in the Big Ten now?
Oh my God. Yeah. I think
to go to
there's
16. I can't.
22. Oh, we need to get to sponsors.
Well, we wanted to say a little bit about Luke Nowacki and David Hall, who not only make this show possible, but make it possible for you to make some smart planning for your future finances and to get some money right away. Mark, what can we tell people about these fine gentlemen?
Well, let's start with Hall. They do have, you said smart, they have a buy smart program because housing inventory is on the rise. You can get ahead of the competition before, spring breaks and then summer, that's when people really start buying houses and moving around. So right now it's easier than ever to get into your new home with Hall Financials. They have an exclusive buy smart program. Can give you up to $2,500 towards your down payment. Get pre-approved in the same day with most credible pre-approval in the industry. Hall Financial's 5-star certified pre-approval. Hall Financial can connect you with the top realtor. They do have a huge networks of realtors, so which is always a tough thing when you're buying a house. Who do you pick? Because you inevitably pick a friend of a friend and then get mad at them. At least that's been my experience. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home or even refinance the home you're in now, or maybe get cash out of that home because you don't want to move or whatever, you can get called. All you got to do, call Hall Financial first. 866-CALL-HALL. There it is. 866-CALL-HALL, or chat with them online at callhallfirst.com.
And we'll have a link to their website on our website. I've done 2 deals with David Hall. Fantastic. If I could find another house to buy, I'd do another deal with them. So we recommend them with gusto.
Start buying houses, you slumlord.
I prefer to
With
think
all
of
that
myself
money-
as a land baron. But
All that money you
it's a fine
make
line.
being a slumlord or a land baron, then make that money earn money for you. Luke Nowacki, he's got a whole team at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. He loves numbers. He loves making people money, and he can help you plan for all your goals that exist today and where you want to be in the future to become that, what did you say, land baron?
Yeah, impresario, land baron, either way.
Luke will put you on that path. Call him 248-663-4748. Free consultation just to see what he can do with your money.
And you want some expert advice because the stock market's up, it's down, what's going to happen next? Let Luke do the worrying. You just watch the numbers grow. Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
I am so pissed off at these MGM gaming ads, and if I hope we're not running any of those commercials. You should know that we run commercials during the show now. Not the people who sponsor the show, but we have some inserted commercials. Those are determined by your browsing habits. They know what you like, and that's why
I get all those gambling ads.
Yeah, well, it's because you're a man.
Degenerate?
You're a man of action, a man of adventure. They call you Monte Carlo Mark.
Or a degenerate.
I'm actually Duke Riviera because I've got the 85 Riv out front. But maybe, did you ever drive a Monte Carlo?
No.
No? Okay, well.
A Marquis Carlo?
Marquis. Like Marquis.
Just trying to change
like
my
Marquis
name
Mark.
in it.
Oh,
It's stupid.
But
I apologize. I should edit that out.
But these BetMGM ads drive me crazy. I know you guys have seen them with Jamie Foxx, and now
I hate them.
Kevin
Continuity
Garnett
drives me nuts, but yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett's getting like a ginger smoothie or something.
Yeah.
And these people who have amazing lives, just wonderful things going on. Jamie Foxx is in the middle of shooting a movie, but the only thing that will give him a rush is winning a little bet on his phone.
Yeah. Kevin Hart, man, that's all he can do. He's addicted to gambling online.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we talking about? Gambling?
Oh my God.
These.
We're talking about gambling? Okay. Who's the geek? Gambling?
You did wash your hands, right? I'm thinking back to an earlier conversation.
But he's been back for at least 2 minutes.
Okay, but he was just getting a smart loan consultation with David Hall. It was such a compelling deal. He couldn't
Notice
wait.
how he didn't want to speed up the show when we were talking about his column.
Oh yeah, no.
No, I did. I said that's probably enough about the Big Ten. Yeah, but go ahead.
No, you said I haven't written about the Big Ten yet. I said more on that later.
No, I said let's not turn this into a Big Ten show.
Well, we actually are.
We're going to ruin everything for
We actually are a top 200 news commentary podcast is rated by Chartable. But yeah, anyway.
It's rated by what?
Chartable.
Chartable.
Oh, nice. Thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Well, if you'd come to production meetings.
It's much better than the other podcasts I'm a part of.
Oh, yeah. It's,
but that's not Carlos's fault. That's my fault.
Yeah, that.
Totally my fault.
That Swap Shop podcast, or what is it? 90 Day Fiance.
Bunker Living with Sean.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that what it is? Bunker Living?
It's
Prepping with Windsor.
Animal husbandry. With
How's that
Sean
generator
Windsor.
going?
No, that's with your brother. Your brother does the animal husbandry podcast, doesn't he?
Does he?
He's the vet.
He is the vet.
It took you a while to remember.
Yeah, he is the vet.
Sean Mann's brother-in-law is impressed.
Who's the geek?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to start over?
Yeah, this whole MGM Grand thing.
Oh man, the geeks.
Cyrus, but it just drives me crazy because either these stars are pathetic, and with all the wonderful things they have going on, they can only live if they have this little rush, or they're trying to convince us that life is not fun unless every second you're doing something that more than likely is going to cost you money. So
why are you blaming the actors? You should blame the companies. The actors are just looking for a check.
Well, that's when they get excited, is when they get the check from BetMGM. I just think the actors, they got enough money, they got enough going on to play this little role. It makes them look pathetic.
You know what's better than enough money is more money to some people.
Yeah, so that's the story behind the story. But to me, to conceive that their lives are miserable unless they win some little prop bet somewhere, unless they cover the spread, it's ridiculous. So BetMGM Grand, first of all, most people don't win. You need to know that. But Jamie Foxx, Kevin Garnett, everybody else who's a part of this, for pretending that your really amazing lives are only worth living because you might have covered a spread somewhere. You guys are my Geek of the Week.
See you again.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
So if you love live music, especially live music, if you love music, especially live music, we'll fix that in post. No, we won't. check out the Caju Cafe. They're open Sunday from 2 to 10, Monday through Thursday, 4 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. The kitchen is open till midnight most days until 10 p.m. on Sunday. They have live music throughout the week. I'm going to be there on St. Patrick's Day. I encourage you to join me. You can find out who's playing there at cajucafe.com. Local place, we're going to play a little local music. This is Toby Red with Every Time I Run.